Good morning, everyone. My name is Antonio Gomez. I work for the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support based out of Illinois State University. I will be your moderator and technical support today. So if you have any questions or any help that you need in the chat, just feel free to drop a message in the chat. I'll help you out. Feel free to also raise your hand if you have questions or post them to the Q&A window. We'll address them as we go through. The webinar will also be offering closed captioning, so feel free to turn that on. We will also be recording this webinar and sending it out to the intermediaries so that you all have a recording of this. And we have also got a couple of polls throughout. So stay engaged, send us your questions. We are happy to go ahead and get started. So Nate, I believe you're kicking us off.
Uh, I'll actually kick it off, Antonio. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
perfect.
No problem. So my name is Chase Martin, and I will be the grant manager. That's going to be your main point of contact during this grant. Thank you all for joining us. This is going to be kind of a soft kickoff, kind of let you know what the grant's all about. So, like Antonio said, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. But kind of what we want to do is we're going to kind of introduce our team here that's going to be kind of helping the grant, and then let you all have a chance to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and who you're representing. So that being said, Nate, do you want to kind of introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Nate Carlson. I work with Jennifer Foyle and Ivy Hood out of the Workforce Policy Lab at NIU. I work on the technical assistance offerings for these grants, which means I am here to support any programmatic questions you might have throughout the grant period. I work primarily with our cohort of apprenticeship specialists, which you'll hear more about later on. But we're here as a resource. And so please check out apprenticeshipillinois.com if you haven't already. And I'll pass it over to Jen.
Hi, everyone. Jennifer Foyle. Again, I work for Northern Illinois University's Workforce Policy Lab, and we have an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Commerce Office of Employment and Training. And so we are here to support everything that you do and to let you know that this all ties back to statewide goals, the state apprenticeship and work-based learning committee, and we're here to help you succeed. So, I just would like Ivy, she's new to our team, to introduce herself, and then we'll get started with back to Chase.
Yeah, hi, my name's Ivy. Like Jen said, I'm relatively new to the team. So hopefully I'm able to be helpful at some point. I think I'll be primarily working with reporting and stuff like that. So hopefully I can be helpful in that way. And it's good to see everybody. Thanks.
Cool. So today we're going to talk kind of 10,000 foot view of what sort of the state vision for apprenticeship has been and how this program factors into that. We're going to ask you to, identify areas where we can support you as we go through the grant period. We'll talk about some of the activities we have planned for the year, and then we'll have some time for question and answers at the end. First off, though, we'd love to know who's with us today. Obviously, we know who you are from your applications, but who are you as people? What roles do you have in your organizations? These are things we would love to know. And I'm going to end that poll and ask maybe we could drop that in the chat. If you could just drop who you are, what organization you're from, and what your role is in the chat so we can all know who's here. And I'll give a minute or so for that. Seeing answers streaming in. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Seeing lots of different roles, lots of different organizations, lots of different kinds of organizations, which is awesome. Super representative of all of the workforce stakeholders who make apprenticeship happen. Cool. All right, awesome. We will go ahead and move on then to kind of talking about that broader 10,000 foot view. And I think Jen's going to take us through this.
Yeah, so many of you are part of our state workforce board's work-based learning and apprenticeship committee. I said it incorrectly before. So it's WBLA. Antonio Gomez, he's on today. He's the lead staff for that. And we have some of you who actually sit on that committee. So just want you to know that it was back in 2017 or 2018, I believe, when the committee decided that the best way to expand apprenticeship in the state is to ease the burden on employers and aggregate needs of employers. So that's when they decided a long time ago that if we have money to put towards apprenticeship, we should put it towards these apprenticeship specialists that Nate had mentioned before that we're going to talk about later. And they're the ones that are trying to engage businesses to adopt the model. But then we should also use the money to fund apprenticeship intermediaries. And that is where you all come into place. You're the high impact intermediaries, that you are that liaison between the employer and the actual participants, the apprentices, and ensure that the apprentices are successful in the program. So I just want you to know that we've had this committee since 2016 for those who are new here. It is employer led. Some of the people, our chair of the committee is Daniel Sirota. He is a vice president at Aon, and Aon has done some great work in apprenticeship for the state of Illinois and across Chicago with the Chicago Apprentice Network. So he leads that committee, but then we also have some committee members here. We help try to influence policy and give advice on how to use money or practices and elevate best practices and get more employers on board, because we realize that although the number one thing we want is more opportunities for apprentices and people who are career seekers, we can't have that without having the employers on board. So we have apprentice ambassadors who are a part of the committee. For anyone who is interested in this committee and you don't know about it already, please reach out to Antonio or Nate or myself, and we can connect you all. Let's go to the next one. So just to let you know, this does tie back to the larger goals. Now, you all are funded through the USDOL State Apprenticeship Expansion Formula Competitive Grant. So we received this grant. The SAFE funding started a couple of years ago. We're actually in the third year of funding for just formula. And this is each state could, within the 5-year plan, each state could apply for a competitive grant one time during the 5 years. We applied this earlier this year and we received it. And so that's why you all are receiving this money. In order to get this grant, we had to put together a 5-year plan and put goals together. And so we did this with a subset of our committee. And so we have 4 goals, coordinate and expand services to workers and career seekers. That's our number one goal. But to do that, we need another goal, and it's to coordinate and expand services to employers. And you all are that liaison between the two. But goal 3 is actually to really expand services among our education, training, workforce, and economic development partners. We really are trying to create a system where we're all on this, we understand that all the different partners have different agendas, different funding lines, different goals themselves, but everyone who's working in work-based learning and apprenticeship in the state, for those who are willing, help us plan the system and let's work together so that we're actually going in the same direction. And we're here to help try to make those connections, because we feel like we can have a bigger impact if we're all working on the same page. And then, goal 4 is really trying to create that system to really do the planning as necessary and replanning. If it's not working, how do we pivot? And that's where the committee comes involved as well. So next slide, Nate. Just a quick view to show you guys back when we started the committee in 2016, and we're like, let's really focus our funds, because again, we don't necessarily have committed funds for work-based learning and apprenticeship, or apprenticeships especially in general. When we decided to aggregate those needs of employers so that we could get more apprentices on board, we started looking at the numbers. So active apprentices, you see it first. That's what everybody loves to look at. Like in 2024, active apprentices were up almost 22,000. That looks awesome, but that doesn't tell the whole story, because some apprentices are in there for 5 years, some are in there for 1 year. It's a moving target. Some complete tomorrow, some started today. So that's always changing. What's really important to look at is how many new apprentices we have. So you can see the growth of new apprentices. And obviously, with the infusion of USDOL, State Apprenticeship Expansion Funds, with also trying to use more of our WIOA dollars towards apprenticeship, funding does make a difference. And we can see that that apprentices, we have had an increase of steady increase of apprentices. Now you see a hiccup back in 2020. We all know what happened there. But we do see an uptick, but we also believe it's too because the system, the ecosystem is being better developed. I believe we're all working together to actually progress this further. The construction and trades have always been a bigger percentage of apprenticeships programs in the state of Illinois. They've used this model for years. We've never wanted to decrease that. We want that to continue, but we also want the apprenticeship and work-based learning models to increase in other occupations. So these numbers what we're looking at are registered apprenticeship only from the Rapids database, but you'll see for the state of Illinois that we have increased in other industries over the years. So we're not just construction; it is little by little. Now, when you take the numbers, in different industries, it may just be 1%. It may be just 2%, maybe 15%, 8%. They may seem small, but we are making traction here. I will let you know that with these numbers, let me just say one more thing about data. We have a group here at NIU that's working with the Rapids data. So that's the data that we have is Rapids. That's the USDOL registered apprenticeship. We're going to make that more transparent to everyone. We're creating a dashboard so that you can see where these programs are. You can see which the occupations are in the state, and then you can see which employer training providers are. So we're trying to be more transparent. That's coming very soon, so that some kind of dashboard that you all can look at so that you can see what's going on in your area and how you all can not necessarily compete, but work together towards this. And then I think Nate.
Switching gears slightly, we talked about our apprenticeship specialists, and here we have the list of our apprenticeship specialists for the year. Whereas you all are apprenticeship intermediaries who work closely as that liaison between employers and apprentices, our apprenticeship specialists are basically wholly dedicated to doing outreach to employers on developing and registering new programs. So our apprenticeship specialists don't just conduct the outreach to employers once an employer is interested, they also guide them through the entire process of registering with DOL. All of the appendices, all of the paperwork they handle so the employer doesn't have to. If this sounds like a pitch, that's because it is, because you may notice that you have a specialist located near you in your area. You'll see here the local workforce areas who received funds to support the hiring or designation of an apprenticeship specialist this year. It's not everybody, but we have a good amount dispersed throughout the state. And if your area isn't covered by one of these LWIAs you see listed here, bad news, you'll have to work with me because I cover the areas of the state where we don't have a specialist. But all of this is to say that these specialists are here to serve your community and your employers through this outreach. And so I definitely ask you, if you haven't already, to connect the apprenticeship specialist in your area because they can be a great tool for you in conducting outreach to new employers and expanding the incredible programs that you have built or are in the process of building. So this is the list. And if you want to know what who these people actually are and what they look like, you can head to apprenticeshipillinois.com and click on the employers page. We have them listed. We also have a number of great resources on the workforce partners page at apprenticeshipillinois.com. Please check that out. Jen talked earlier kind of about, this 5-year cycle. You can see here, we've moved into year 3. And so this year, our focus really is taking ownership and leadership of apprenticeship expansion. We've done the groundwork of building that foundation and awareness through the first couple years of apprenticeship specialist funding. Last year, we made a huge push in terms of making sure our apprenticeship specialists were connected to and embedded within their areas, integrated business services teams. And so this year, we really have shifted the focus into taking ownership and leadership of apprenticeship expansion. I don't know if you want to expand on that, Jen.
Yeah, this is just showing the funding that we're getting from this is SAEF is the State Apprenticeship Expansion Funds. So these are the formula funds only. So we've received 3 rounds of formula funds, and these are what fund the apprenticeship specialists. They're really upping their game this year. Part of their metrics are expanding a existing program. So if you already have an existing program, they get credit for helping to bring more employers to your program. That is why you should work with them. And so we're asking that they take more ownership and really in their region to get more employers on board and working with you all. So if you all, if you have any problems with them, come to us because they do receive funding, but actually they're very helpful. They understand that this year they're up in their game about what the work that and the outreach that they're doing in their regions. Oh, and so this is just, yeah, I'm sorry. So this is just, the apprenticeship specialists, we're letting them know they have this golden opportunity. The federal administration has put this goal of having 1 million active apprentices. Now, the apprenticeship specialists, they're trying to get employers on board, and that's how you get apprentices on board, or have more opportunity for apprentices. But it's really you all that do that work. If we're going to get to 1 million, it's intermediaries. It's you all who bring multiple apprentices together. And so, we have this chance of really trying to make an impact going towards that 1 million active apprentices. There's a possibility that the funding 10% will be allocated just to registered apprenticeship programs. And so the apprenticeship specialists, they are embedded in the business services teams for our local workforce areas. They have to submit a modified unified state plan. It's a midpoint here in spring 2026, and we're asking them to put registered apprenticeship in the forefront of that plan as well.
This is just a little more about the formal apprenticeship intermediary role in terms of how you play into the apprenticeship system here in Illinois. As an apprenticeship intermediary, as a grantee, you're expected to complete regular reporting for your enrolled participants in Illinois WorkNet, including a completed application for each participant. If you don't know what we're talking about, we'll have more information on this, webinars, resources forthcoming. Keeping DCEO and our team of support here apprised of any changes to your work plan or any challenges you're facing. If an employer falls through, if you're having trouble with getting a occupation registered, these are things we want to be kept in touch with on so that we know what's going on when we see reporting coming through. So we're not just like, oh, I wonder what's going on with them. And then, as noted already, to collaborate with your area's apprenticeship specialist on outreach where applicable. We understand some of you wrote to work with specific employers. Some of you, maybe are targeting specific sectors. There's a little bit more flexibility there for you to do some of that joint outreach with your area's specialist. And so we really just want to take advantage of the opportunity that we have full support for our employers because we have somebody who can take them through the registration process in your area, but then you are all here to take that baton and, coordinate their program and make sure that those participants succeed. So we don't want to waste that opportunity to have that, fully supported program for employers because we recognize just what good that can do for getting employers on board, but also making sure that those apprentices complete and see those huge changes in their economic mobility and their career path. And so this is kind of an open question for you all. Now, obviously, many of you are new to the apprenticeship intermediary game, and this question may not apply to you. But for those of you who are, existing apprenticeship intermediaries, what is your feeling in terms of how connected you are to your local workforce partners? Do they understand the services you offer to participants? How plugged in do you feel with your local workforce stakeholders? And you can feel free to drop this in the chat, raise your hand. And we've got a long answer for that. Yeah, great. And Antonio or Elizabeth, if you want to let us know when we get a good number of responses and can keep rolling, just let me know.
So far, we've got two. I think that seems to be about where we're stuck. Is there anybody that needs a little bit more time to write their answer? Or you want to just go ahead and raise your hand and say it out loud? Oh, we've got six, seven. All right, we're going up. Okay, I'll wait a second. All right, looks as though we're at nine. I'm going to end the poll right there, and then you can feel free to just say it out loud or drop it in the chat if we cut you off. Yeah. All right. So it looks as though we have one that we have developed a network with apprenticeships with our employers. Another one was yes, we have worked with our OEA slash BST for many years. We're connected with a lot of our partners, but the question is how invested are they in the process? It has been challenging, but we will get there. Organization has good relationships. Personally, I haven't interacted with them to know. Not applicable for my role. We have a good relationship with our partners, partner in Cook County. We're excited to get started. For the most part, yes, yes, a couple of yeses. And then somewhat, we don't know them. They may not think of us in the intermediary role.
And so a wide spectrum really of relationships that exist currently between your organizations and your workforce partners. And I think that's a good, temperature to take now because, we're at the front end of this program year. And so maybe an additional goal can be to connect, to some of those partners who maybe you're not super plugged in with currently. Similarly, what is the biggest barrier currently for stronger collaboration with your regional workforce partners? Whether that's we just don't know who they are, or we feel we have different priorities, whatever that might look like for you. And we really are asking this in the interest of supporting you as you and your teams move through this process of being an intermediary for this grant because we recognize that apprenticeships require collaboration and are made better and stronger through collaboration. And so if there are any barriers that you're facing, we would love to know so that we can prepare resources, determine, appropriate interventions to help make sure those partnerships are successful for you.
We've got a comment in the chat saying sometimes it can be hard to reach the right person within an organization. Not all of the workforce partners are very accessible through their websites. Having a dedicated and updated contact list would be super helpful. We've got three in the poll so far. We're jumping up to five. Okay, I see us jumping up a little bit, so I'll give a couple more seconds and then I'll end the poll.
And that feedback on wanting a expanded contact list, that's exactly the kind of feedback we're looking for in terms of what resources can we help create for you to make your partnership stronger and help facilitate the work you're doing.
Okay, looks as though our answers have kind of plateaued a little bit. Anybody raise your hand if you need a couple more seconds to just hit send. All right, seeing none, I'm ending the poll. Okay, it looks as though we've got quite a few responses. It's just very interesting. We meet regularly, monthly, but haven't received a single employer referral. Our LWIBs have different priorities for apprenticeship because they cannot count them in their system unless they pay for the apprenticeship, so it's challenging. I think that maybe they don't have a budget to consider hiring an apprentice in the long term once they're done with the app. No problem for us was another response. Currently, setting reasonable expectations with our partners for outcomes for this grant/effort. Most have significant needs that need to be met. We're looking for prioritization of apprenticeships over other funding/grant streams. Often, it's as simple as receiving a response to an email. The biggest barrier sometimes is just time, the time it takes to align all parties. Sometimes they can not turn around quickly or be flexible enough for customized training or employer schedule. Also, not all partners are willing to collaborate. Finally, staff changes have happened. And then the last comment is community lack of understanding surrounding apprenticeship.
And all of those are super great pieces of feedback for us to have, because some, we can't do a lot about, folks not emailing you back, but helping to continue build that understanding of apprenticeships and how we can partner together as a, united workforce system, I think is certainly something that this team is focused on in this process. And so building on that, how can the Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship Committee support your efforts? This can be in the form of resources that could be developed. This can be in the form of promotion on, social media or whatever. Like what would be useful to you and your organization as you conduct this apprenticeship intermediary work?
There's a comment from Corey Young in the chat. We will talk about counting at some point in the meeting, so we know guidelines to avoid double counting registered apprenticeships between the intermediary and the specialist.
I will turn that over to Jen.
Yeah. So everyone has their own metrics. So it's okay if there's kind of double counting. It doesn't, the intermediaries, the specialists are not putting anything into Rapid. So there wouldn't be any kind of double counting of apprentices there. With employers, the apprenticeship specialists metrics are based on employers, and they actually have to put the employers and the other partners they're working with. So if they've put that they're working with you, Corey, on that, and a certain employer, and you have the same thing, that we understand it's the same. So we're not going to be double counting. You all don't have to worry about that. We don't want them to be discouraged from helping, but they shouldn't be taking credit for what you're doing. They should be taking credit for what they're doing. So, and that's where we're trying to work with them on.
Looks like we've got a good amount of responses from the poll, so I'm going to go ahead and end that. Some of the answers that we got were build more easy to follow marketing material. Apprenticeship seems to be more complicated than they are. Resources on how to help guide the partnership with the LWIBs as they have different priorities. Resources, guide to register apprenticeships, step-by-step guides. What about also developing a mentorship training for employers? Not all employers are trained to be a mentor. We need more information about post-award requirements, reporting frequency, common pitfalls, reimbursement timelines, etc. Another comment was promotion of registered apprenticeships and employers would be great as well as workforce partner group meetings where multiple partners can be introduced at once. Thanks. Well, next comment is more awareness from the state level, better reporting systems. It would be great to connect with committee/resources on specifics of our project so that we can understand how to maximize our resources for our employers and participants. And then promotion of the programs helps everyone. And the last comment, a contact list would be great, as stated in the chat, to be sure that the correct people are being connected/collaborated with.
And all of that is great feedback. And some of it, you'll be pleasantly surprised. We already have some of that in the works. But thank you all for that feedback. If it seems like we're not doing a lot of the talking today, that's purposeful. We wanted to hear from you. I am certain you will hear us yap enough over the next however many months. But we really wanted to get your feedback today as we start this process. Jen, I don't know if you want to take this one. This is some of the lessons we've learned over the course of working on expanding apprenticeship in the state, not only for the specialists, but also for our intermediary partners, just in general, collaborating with employers on these programs.
Yeah, these are just some of the things that we've learned over these few years, and we're still learning, obviously. And I just want to open it up to you all that this is there should be a feedback loop. Anytime you need anything or you're learning lessons or anything of that nature that we can help share, that you all can share with your peers, you can share with us. We really want to build that system for you guys. But we know that apprenticeships are the long game. We know that from the first time you talk to an employer until that it actually happens, sometimes there's a lot of time in between, and that we found that even starting on with apprenticeship specialists to get the employers on board, a lot of them are working with employers working with just incumbent workers, because upskilling incumbent workers rather than just hiring someone off the street that they don't know, they've realized that that's kind of like the low-hanging fruit, starting with the willing, starting at making it an easy model. So just that employer hesitancy towards apprenticeship is reduced with comprehensive support. So that's the whole reason that the apprenticeship specialists worked with the employers, but then also you guys. That's the whole reason the committee said, let's aggregate needs of employers, ease the burden on employers, and we're seeing that actually has helped. Ongoing professional development is needed at different levels. And so and part of this is that even throughout the state, even with people that we think understand apprenticeship, maybe don't understand apprenticeship. So it's a constant just re-educating our partners on this, because we have an extension of partners. We have all of these economic development agencies throughout the state. We have chambers of commerce. As we continue to educate them on what we do as a state and what we can offer and what apprenticeships are, if that professional development is needed at different kind of levels, because they are an extension of us and helping us spread the good word and bringing employers on board and making it easier. And part of that just bleeds right into also relationships matter. And then it's a consultative process when it comes to employers, that our apprenticeship specialists, they need to not only understand sales, but they need to understand the data and the different policies and different business models and things of that nature. So we're really trying to work on how the state can help with professional development on all these different levels, how as an extension, the different grantees can help, and then also the committee. So these are just lessons that we're learning, where we ask that you also elevate anything to us as well that we should be learning that you don't think we are.
So we're going to kind of walk through some of our framework for the technical assistance that will be available to you as part of this grant program, talking kind of like what our high-level goals for our technical assistance are. First and foremost, we want to ensure consistent messaging about registered apprenticeships across all of our grantees and their state and local partners. As many of you who have done outreach with employers can attest to, there are a lot of people who think they know what registered apprenticeship is or what it looks like or what the rules of it are, and then you find out they have a ton of misconceptions. And so we want to reduce that to the greatest extent possible, not just for the sake of making sure our employer partners know what the deal is, but also the apprentices themselves. We don't want apprentices to have a misunderstanding of what they're signing up for. We want to empower grantees to effectively communicate, develop, and submit registered apprenticeships to DOL for approval. That's obviously more of the specialist end, but as intermediaries, you also will be communicating with employers and apprentices about apprenticeship and work seeking to develop and expand your own existing programs. And we are here to help facilitate that. We want to promote best practices for high quality apprenticeship outcomes. All of you, were selected for this grant in part because your grants, your programs offer such high quality outcomes, and so your best practices are what we want to show off for the state. We want to show off how employers can train and retain skilled talent in a way that is a win-win for everybody. We want to facilitate collaboration and peer learning across regions. We've talked a lot about that today. Create a library of localized tool and resources. Establish feedback loops for continuous improvement, which we just talked about. And then, all of this in service of building a strong, connected, statewide apprenticeship network that serves employers and career seekers alike. Our annual apprenticeship boot camp is coming up October 8th and 9th at Moraine Valley Community College, and we would love to see all of you there. We are having a $50 registration fee this year that will allow us to provide lunch and coffee. And that's great because conferences without lunch and coffee are tough. If you have not been or heard of our apprenticeship boot camp, it is an intensive experiential learning conference focused on registered apprenticeship and its expansion in Illinois. We develop the boot camp in partnership with stakeholders from across education and workforce, some of whom are on this call. Hi, Danielle. And we're really proud of this event every year, and we would encourage you to check it out. Bring your team. If there's anybody in your organization internally who doesn't understand apprenticeship, who could be, won over a bit more, this is a great opportunity to do that. If your local LWIB maybe doesn't understand apprenticeship and could collaborate better with you, this is a great opportunity for that as well. We also offer weekly drop-in office hours. You can find the link to this on apprenticeshipillinois.com under the Workforce Partners page. I'm available to meet with any grantees, any employer partners you're working with, and any workforce stakeholders seeking guidance on developing, registering, or expanding an apprenticeship program. This includes all of you and your teams and partners. So if you're working with an employer, and maybe it's an occupation that your entity has not previously worked on, and so you're unsure of anything, we're here to help any way that we can. We do have some existing printable resources and guides that you can utilize in your outreach or for your own reference, including one-pagers on, what are the components of registered apprenticeship. We have a case study on, a nursing apprenticeship that we're really proud of down from Clay County Hospital, and we have more resources in development. So this is another thing where let us know what you need and we will make it for you. We want to be responsive to the needs that you are seeing in the field. We also have some marketing materials available for you to promote apprenticeship in general apprenticeship brochures. We have some trade show materials that may be available, as well as some videos that you can use in promotion, which you'll see at the end of this presentation. I've already talked quite a bit about the Apprenticeship Illinois website, apprenticeshipillinois.com. Check it out. And I'll hand over to Jen to talk about some of the more exciting stuff that we've got in the works.
Yeah, so I already kind of gave it away. We are going to have a dashboard using the Rapids data so that it can be more transparent about what is going on in the state, what occupations. We are going to have a monthly report, especially on the apprenticeship specialist, but then also for what's going on with all grantees for the committee. This monthly report is for the committee as well as for the director of the Department of Commerce, as well as everyone else. You will be receiving a comprehensive program manual. Nate alluded to it, that you will be using Illinois WorkNet for intake process of apprentices and for reporting on the apprentice part of the grant, not the grant management itself. But that part will be in the program manual. Also, though, I saw Philip, you had a question about whether, just specifics of practical aspects of the grant, of managing it and all. That is going to be separate. We're going to be, Chase will be working with everyone. He's the go-to person for reimbursements and for grant management. And I believe that DCO has a comprehensive thing put together already for that. So we'll get that out to you all. We're also putting together a master calendar of apprenticeship and work-based learning events around the state so that you all, if something's going on in your area, you can go to it. If you have it, we can promote it as well. So with apprenticeshipillinois.com, we also have social media available to us, as well as the Department of Commerce's social media, so that we can elevate any kind of events for you all. So please, if you all have any events, let us know. And then not only if you want, and also if you need help supporting that event, let us know. And we can enlist support of those events besides just promoting.
Here is another calendar of some of the webinars we've got coming up. We already had some that have happened this year. You can find the recordings to those on apprenticeshipillinois.com. We did an Apprenticeship 101, utilizing Standards Builder, which for many of you, you're going to be registering or expanding your occupations in Rapids, so maybe you don't have to worry about Standards Builder as much. But if you are launching your program for the first time, for this grant, definitely check that out. We've got two great panels coming up next month on engaging employers and on, train the trainer best practices for offering some of that mentorship training support to apprenticeship employers. Somebody mentioned that earlier. So we will have something for you on that. So stay tuned on that.
Before we do the poll, there's a question in the chat from Debbie. It says that with the fall semester beginning this month, we just met about this, Debbie, with Department of Commerce. So at the community colleges, when will we be able to enroll new apprentices into Illinois WorkNet, and what is the earliest start date an apprentice can have? So earliest start date an apprentice can have is 7/1, July 1st, because these are effective July 1st. That's also with cost reimbursements. You can have cost that Head Start from July 1st beyond reimbursed as well. Illinois WorkNet, we have a meeting this week about it. We understand that we're butting up against the semester, and that you all are starting to bring apprentices in. And so I don't have an exact date for you, but we hope to have that to you ASAP. The reason there's hesitation here is because there's different funding sources. Right now, the funding source from SAFE, that aren't the eligibility requirements necessarily are needed for WIOA dollars. And so, and the system is set up as if it were WIOA eligible, or needing WIOA eligibility, and they don't with the funds that you all have been given. And so, but we're also trying to figure out what reporting requirements we still have based on these as a state. So coming to you soon. And sorry, we don't have a great answer for that. So thank you for totally understanding.
And then I think this is our last question for you all, but just anything that this team can do to support you and the work you are doing, not just in terms of outreach, but in terms of professional development for your teams. We recommend that you are likely a representative of maybe a small but mighty or even larger team focused on this project. And so anything we can do to help educate, inform, support the work being done in your organizations for this grant, we would love to know. Looks like we've gotten a few in.
Yeah, let's go ahead with that.
Go ahead and
sounds good.
Oh, here's fine.
Kind of final thoughts.
Well, here, what are they? Can
Sure.
Antonio read them out to us?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one was sales training. The second one was Illinois WorkNet problem solving. It's sometimes clunky, and we're not sure who the primary person is to contact. Professional development regarding resources and services that are available to us to help employers. The next one is we are excited to work with this team, and we're looking forward to getting to know you all. A meeting with our team would be great. The last one is advocacy for better access, knowledge, and use of and potential changes to the tax credit for employers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much again for all of that feedback that will absolutely be utilized to develop resources moving forward. So thank you for contributing that insight for us today. Jen, do you want to wrap us up here?
Yeah, I just want to say that, you all are part of something bigger. Yeah, we only at this point have just put funding out for the apprenticeship specialists and a few of the intermediaries, but it's something, it feeds into that larger network, the larger state goal. So thank you all. We understand that it may not be for everyone's, but we understand that we're constantly having to bust myths, expand mindsets, and elevate the model. And so this is partnership driven. And then relationships matter. So we want to know you all really well, and we understand that you all are successful because you have already built those relationships that you have. And anyone that we can help make those connections for you guys, whether it's with any state agencies or partners or local workforce areas or anything that we could perhaps step in and help, let us know. We know that that success is local. A lot of times when it comes to workforce development, you've got to, and that kind of ties back to the relationships matter part. And you know, we're starting with the willing, and we all share one mission. Antonio, I was wondering if I could just share my screen for a second.
Yeah, you should have permission.
I noticed that we didn't share with you all who all is on board here. And so I wanted to show you. So we've shown you who has been funded for the apprenticeship specialists. So for this round with the $5 million from the State Apprenticeship Expansion Competitive Fund, this is who all should be here today, who has been funded. I say this very carefully because we received over 75 applications we received more than that, but 75 passed the administrative review, that they met all the requirements to be able to apply for this NOFO. So all of them were reviewed by a merit review team. There were 3 merit review teams, and they went through an entire process. So you all are considered like the first ones that were funded under the $5 million. I'm kind of jumping over my words because if we receive other funding, there are other organizations that had the pass fail versus, they received a score that was still passing and they were still fantastic, but we only had 5 million and we had so many great applications. So these are what we got to fund with the 5 million. If we do receive more funding, then we will go down on the list and fund the others that have had a passing score as well. But those people have not been, we can't tell you who they are, and they haven't been notified because it all is dependent on funding. But just wanted to let you guys know who all is in the room right now. We're so excited. Some of you are statewide, which is fantastic. Others there's all kinds of occupations being represented in these grants, and you all were the cream of the crop. So you had the highest scores for the 5 million. And so we're really looking forward to working with all of you guys. So I just wanted to share that. Any questions? I just want to open it up just before, because I know we're going to end on a video to show you why we're here. But are there any questions? Does anyone have anything they want to say or any questions? And it's just good to see a lot of familiar faces here and new ones.
Quick question, Jen. Are we allowed to, we haven't said anything to anyone. Are we allowed to at least speak to the people that have submitted letters on our behalf, etc., or is it still?
If you, Corey, believe that you are accepting the grant as is, because I will tell you, everyone asked for tons more money than what we had, and we tried to spread the money out. And if you're willing to work for what we asked and you're good with it, although the grants, it takes forever for them to get established. Chase is working with accountability and legal. They're going to get established here in August. But yes, if you are good with it, go forward and you are blessed. Go forward and conquer.
Thank you. And I know we don't have to do it today, but I know that community colleges are a slam dunk. We all know who those are, but there are a couple organizations that I don't know who what they do. ICAR, Spirit Tech, OAI, or Job Forward. I don't know if we have like 30 seconds to learn what they do, but
Yeah, would somebody like to speak up from a Spirit Tech, Job Forward, OAI?
I'm happy to start if you want.
Yes, thank you.
Matt McKinney, CEO for Job Forward. Um, Grateful to be on this call and learning more about the effort. We're a national workforce intermediary. We're based in Williston, Vermont, but we work all throughout the country and have remote staff throughout the country. We are working with an effort in Cook County as it relates to mental health and resources for a variety of employers that we've all already been connected with. So we're excited about this opportunity and to do some work in Illinois. We have lots of experience in the healthcare space as it relates to apprenticeship. And we're looking forward to getting to know this group and providing any support that we potentially can as it relates to our experience. But I will stop there so I don't take up anybody else's time.
And I can speak for Spiritech. So we are a nonprofit that we do quality assurance and IT services for the most part, employing entirely autistic adults. And so for the purposes of this grant, we are expanding our training program to include cybersecurity training. And so that will be the industry that our participants will be apprenticing into, and we are extremely excited to get this off the ground and running.
Good morning. I'll speak for OAI. My name is Melody Esco. I'm a program manager at, oh my God, let me go over here, at OAI. OAI is a workforce development nonprofit agency. We've been in existence for, I believe, over 40 years in the Chicagoland area. We actually are headquartered now in our South Suburban Park Forest location, and we have had the apprenticeship program before, so we're really grateful and appreciative because we know how competitive it was that we have been awarded once again the opportunity to expand our apprenticeship programs. We are going to include a previous apprenticeship wrap program, office service specialist, that we kicked off last year in 2024 that received so many positive comments that people were just waiting for us to get awarded some additional money so that we can include it again. And then we also, though, are really excited about a new apprenticeship program that we will have to develop the instruction for, but it's a registered nursing program. So again, thank you so much. And I see Sandra, I think she wants to say something.
No, I was gonna have you speak. You did good.
Okay. Sandra is our interim executive director here at OAI. Thank you.
Thank you all for speaking up. And any more questions?
Sandra,
this isn't your only
drop a
chance to be
question.
able to ask a question. You can ask anytime. So, we have email addresses, phones. Antonio,
Sandra
did you have
drop a question in the chat. Is there a possibility of increasing funding levels should more money become available?
Oh, Sandra, I mean, we wish we had an unlimited supply of money. If more funding comes available, it is going to go to fund more of the intermediaries that had the passing grade from the merit review. That would be the first priority. Also, though, we ask that you work with any of your local workforce areas to use some of their incumbent worker training dollars or their on-the-job training dollars or customized training dollars, should they have some available. Yes, so that's a long answer to say, yes, if we have more money.
Well, so I ask this because there was a year we kind of ran out of money really early because we had placed a whole bunch of apprentices in Rapids. So if that was to be your goal, would you consider that?
The Department of Commerce does have statewide activities funds so that when people have come to them and said, we are being and proven they're so successful. Could we have some more money? They have found other money at times.
Okay.
So I would never discourage you from asking for money.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because with the nursing program, we find that's what we found out last year. It went so quick. So we kind of now that it's the RN one, the demand is so high that we are really anticipating being done early. So just FYI,
yes.
keep us in mind.
All right. I think we wanted to end, you guys, if you didn't have any more questions, we wanted to end with a reminder of why we do this. And it's a video of 2 of our apprenticeship ambassadors, or apprentice ambassadors that we have. We do, for those who don't know, we do a new cohort every year. This is our 2nd year of having apprentice ambassadors. So they're either apprentices or recent alumni of being an apprentice, or recent graduates of being an apprentice. And we do that through the Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship Committee through our state's workforce board. So, Antonio, can you tee us up?
Absolutely.
So I'm from the south side of Chicago, the Washington Heights neighborhood. In that neighborhood, you have like a lot of fast food restaurants, stores, a lot of customer service-based jobs.
Morgan Arnold leaves her neighborhood every morning and heads to her apprenticeship at the Aon Center in the heart of Chicago's Loop.
I didn't do the best in high school, so I didn't think there was as many opportunities for me because of that. So immediately after school, I got a job. Started working in fast food.
Morgan wanted a meaningful career, but felt stuck in unfulfilling jobs until a friend told her about registered apprenticeships available through the local community college.
We recruit from our communities. So it's a diversity of not just the person, but of thought, of problem solving, of experience.
The Earn While You Learn apprenticeship model gives employers, like an insurance company such as Aon, access to hardworking talent, including Morgan.
I'm at an age where I need to do something that I do have passion behind, and that's always been helping people.
Apprentices are paid while going through training. As their skills increase, so do their wages. Many receive an associate's degree during the apprenticeship, and some go on to pursue a bachelor's degree.
When you're enrolling as a first-year student, you are also starting as an apprentice. The company has, in the case of Aon, a relationship from the very beginning with a talented person that they have made a conscious choice that they are going to invest in.
Support and other resources are available to employers who want to participate in apprenticeship programs all over Illinois, including in small towns like Paris, where Cody Miles grew up.
I would say growing up in a small town was more difficult to get a job. So there's not many companies that you can get a good paying job in this area. When I graduated high school, I had a family friend that works here at NAL, and he had told us about the apprenticeship. It's a great paying job that also allowed me to get a degree and get education. My mom and dad, they never really went to college, so I was the first one to really get the degree.
I mean, if you can get college, a couple years of college paid for, and plus be able to have an agreement to work after that, that's huge.
Prior to working for NAL, I honestly just thought it was a factory that made lights. I didn't know what lights. Now that I work here, I kind of enjoy it more because I help make the lights. And then I get to see them on the road, and I'm like, hey, I know that car. I know what line that came off of.
In the next few years, we're going to start seeing people who have a wealth of knowledge retire, and so it's important to have that pipeline coming up.
I think that Cody is going to continue to grow here at the company personally because he's proven not only when the company is loyal to him, but he returns that loyalty to the company.
Yeah, I think I became more confident as I've been in this program. It has allowed me to buy a house, buy a car, provide for me and my girlfriend and our dogs that we have. I have siblings living with me, and I help them.
Like Cody at North American Lighting, Morgan at Aon is also a role model in her community.
My friends and family tell me they can see how happy I am. Like I'm able to do volunteer opportunities. I'm becoming more confident in myself and taking chances on myself. I have a career trajectory now. I have a stronger network of people, professionally and personally.
We have an 80% retention rate overall for our program, which is like 10% higher than our other early career programs.
We have been able to provide supports, best practices and such to other employers that have been toying around with the idea of launching their own program.
We have many more students, qualified students, for apprenticeships than we actually have apprenticeship opportunities today. And that's why, we are really encouraging, employers to look at this, pipeline of opportunity because it really is fruitful.
And it helps our rural communities as well because we are working with these local community colleges. I think it's a win-win for everybody.
If your business is ready to train and retain skilled talent, visit apprenticeshipillinois.com today.
Thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.